Hello all. So here I'm again with a new session that is a reflection. So last class we had seen the introduction part of light, and this class we are diving straight to the reflection process. So let's dive in, and this is your channel, our channel, Physi Dive, and this is your teacher Alexi Rajan. So just dive in. If an object, say this is an object, if this object is thrown to a surface, to a hard surface, then obviously this object will go there, hit there, and it bounces back. It bounces back. And this particular process is known as reflection. In the last session, we have seen with some examples, but we are here back of anything. So we are studying about the light process. So I can say that the bouncing back of light, the bouncing back of photon, in precisely we can say photon of light, once it gets hit on any surface, or if the light is coming from one medium, if the light is coming from one medium, say this is medium 1, and it just get hits on any surface, say it is a hard surface or it's a rough surface or it's a smooth surface, okay, then what happens is it bounces back, and this bouncing back of light, or this bouncing back of this object or substance or light photon, is known as what? The reflection. And one more very important thing that is to be discussed here is that the light should bounce back. It should come from one medium and it should go back to, or bounce back to, the same medium. It should not enter to any other medium. It should bounce back to the same medium. Then we can say this particular phenomenon as reflection. Type of reflection. Now we need to study about the type of reflection. What are the different types of reflection? In nature, there are mainly two types of reflection there. So what are that two types of reflection? And we can say that the two types of reflection are, first one is a regular reflection, and the second one is diffused reflection, diffused reflection. So what is this regular reflection and diffuse reflection? Regular reflection happens once the light falls on a smooth surface. Imagine the light ray is coming and falling on a smooth surface. Imagine this is a smooth surface. Then definitely it will reflect. It will reflect. Imagine that many parallel rays are falling like this. Okay. Then the reflected rays will also reflect in a parallel fashion. It also falls in a parallel fashion. So we can see a regular pattern on that reflection. A regular pattern is followed in that reflection, and we call this type of reflection as a regular reflection. Whereas diffuse reflection, what happens here in diffuse reflection? Just imagine that here the surface on which the light is falling is not smooth. It's irregular. So here what happens? Imagine a light is falling here. Then you can see it reflects like this. Okay. If a ray is falling on this surface, what happens? And definitely it will reflect like this. If a light ray is falling like this, then definitely it will just reflect like this. Here see the reflected ray. Okay, reflected ray. There you can see that there is no regular pattern there. They diffuse among themselves. They just scatter in different direction. They reflect in different direction. Okay, so there is no regular fashion in this type of reflection, and we call this as what? A diffused reflection. Whereas a regular pattern is formed, then we call it as a regular reflection. So that's about the type of reflection. Now we study about the various terms related to reflection, the various terms that is coming in reflection process. Imagine that a ray of light is coming and falling on a surface. Then by reflection process, we can see that the surface will reflect the light to the same medium. Okay. Now this is a scenario. A ray of light is coming and falling on any surface and reflects to the same medium, and we call it as a reflection process. Here we need to just define, we need to study about various terminologies related to this particular phenomenon. The ray of light which is coming and falling on the surface is known as what? The incident ray. It is known as the incident ray. Whereas the ray of light which is reflecting back to the same medium is known as what? The reflected ray. So, incident ray and the reflected ray. Now, these two are rays. So, we need to define these rays and we need to define the law of reflection. So, there is an imaginary line. We are just taking an imaginary line. An imaginary line which is drawn perpendicular to the surface, which is drawn perpendicular to the surface. Perpendicular to the surface means this is 90 degree. This is 90 degree. Okay, perpendicular to the surface and at the point of incidence, and this normal and this line and this perpendicular line is known as normal. It is not normal ray. It is simply normal because it is an imaginary line drawn. Okay. So these are the three main terms related to the phenomenon reflection. That is incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal. Incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal. Here we can see two angles. One is this angle and one is this angle. The angle between incident ray and the normal is known as what? Angle of incidence. The angle between reflected ray and the normal is known as what? Angle of reflection. So we can see different numerous number of terms related to the reflection process. And the first one is the incident ray, reflected ray, normal, angle between the incident ray and the normal, which we call it as what? Angle of incidence, and the angle between reflected ray and the normal, and we call it as what? Angle of reflection. So these are the various terms related to the reflection. Laws of reflection. Mainly, two laws of reflection are there. So in the reflection process, we can see this is a scenario. So the various laws of reflection are, first one, the incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal lies on same plane. Here we can say the incident ray, reflected ray, and the normal lies on this particular surface. They are lying on the same surface or same plane, and we call it as what? This is the first law of reflection. And now coming to the second law of reflection, angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. So in any type of scenario, we can say that angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. And going back to the previous session, we have seen that two types of reflection are there. First one is that it is a regular reflection, and the next one is the diffused reflection. In both the cases, this particular law will satisfy. In both cases, it is correct. So that's it for today's class. So I hope that you got the points. So I'll be coming for you in the coming days with new topics of class 10 as well as the other classes too. So stay tuned and do support with your like, share, comment, as well as your subscription. Kindly support. And there's our channel, Physi Dive. So thank you.